This is Aneke TV.
Yeah, welcome to your program, Philosophy and Life. And with me in the studio to look at a very regular, sometimes serious, and interesting matter, which we all talk about, but we don't want to hear about, the thing called abomination. With me in the studio to look into this concept and its implications for the society, we have Reverend Barrister Charles Okechukwu Ajogu. Reverend Ajogu, you're welcome to the program.
You're welcome. Welcome, viewers.
Barrister,
Sir.
without taking much of our time, this thing called abomination, maybe the viewer will want to have a definition of abomination.
Okay, thank you, Prof. Well, the word abomination has to do with something that represses the truth, something that is contrary to the present norms. So it's very relative because it has to do with what a system provides and people follows up immediately. So abomination has to do with mostly something that has to do with what is acceptable in the now. In the now.
In the community.
In the community, in the now. So, you know, time and seasons can change a lot of things. So what was acceptable last year, once a new season comes, it represses that truth. So if you do that thing that was acceptable last year, which has been changed or turned over, it becomes an abomination.
Yeah, may we have, at least as a barrister, may we have, because I know you must have gone to court over a number of human rights issues and so on and so on, but we have some snippets of what we may call abomination over some space, you know, over time. Like in the ancient world, like in the Christendom, like in our own culture, and even in the now that you are talking about. So that somewhere that is a child may begin to have an idea of what is abomination.
It's okay. Like I'm from Nsukka, to be precise, Abbey town in Uzowani.
Okay.
But some villages, they have different norms, different cultures. Maybe in a particular village where people are dying, people were dying, and because of in quest to find out why people were dying, our forefathers went to bring in a native doctor, okay, and ended up conjured a kind of a charm and said that how this charm will work is that people should not eat maybe goats, people should not eat rams, people should not eat dogs, editingly. And that thing was prevailing. So if you come into that village or community, you know that they don't eat because of that particular institution, instituted norm. So if you eat it, you have committed an abomination. Maybe another generation might come up and do away with that charm and introduce another religion or whatever. And they say, okay, we can now eat ram or shouldn't eat goat again. So if you do what the present truth says we shouldn't do, it becomes an abomination. Okay. So time and season changes it. Time and season, depending on, even in the Bible, if you look at Corinthians, there was something Paul was saying to the Corinthian people. Say, you people, women should not speak in the church because of what the prevailing situation there he was addressing. So if you come to Corinthian church and you see a woman speaking in the church, because an abomination in those days. But now you can see that society has changed. Women are even apostles, they are even starting churches today. So it happens in several institutions. So abomination is what a particular people sets up to that rules and guides their way of behaving, culture, okay, society at that present time. With time can change, with season can change, with another institution can change.
Okay, yeah, because it's good that we're talking about this and talking of season, but our people would want to have, as Igbos, you have mentioned your own area in Uzowani and how probably there was an oracle,
Yes.
which was instituted, because I don't want to call it the oracle. There was an oracle. The people had a challenge, and then they put that, and maybe at least there was a solution,
Yes.
which they met, and they continued with it. And but there are other things like if somebody kills his brother.
Everywhere, that's a general abomination. It's general. I'm talking about something that a particular set of people set up because of what is prevalent in the environment. Killing everywhere is killing.
So murder is
it's
an abomination.
not just abomination. It's a crime.
No, let us start from abomination first.
Okay,
because we call it a crime, that we are now legalizing
it's generally something that is criminal all over the world. You know? Abomination cannot be generalized.
Okay.
Because it pertains to a people.
No, because as a pastor, I'm looking at what happened between Cain and Abel.
Yes.
And God said, because of what you have done, you have destroyed the land.
Yes.
Because abomination destroys the land.
Yeah, abomination
for the community.
For the community.
Destroys the land.
That's why I say it's particular.
For the community.
But when you do something that is generally abominable in the whole world, that's a crime.
That is evil.
That's evil.
That's not evil.
Okay.
That's evil.
Yeah. So it's abomination. Something that's abominable here may not be abominable the other side.
Yeah, because under a war situation and you kill people, that one is the person becomes a hero.
Yeah. Where
yes, I say under a war situation.
Okay, of course, yeah, because it's acceptable that people should kill.
Yes.
So it's not about in
self-defense.
It's not even self-defense. So it's not abomination.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Now I'm looking at because we want the viewer to have ideas of what would have as abominable in both in our community, because like we mentioned, for whatever reason, even if you kill, I know that you lawyers talk about manslaughter as different from murder, and so on and so on. You try to grade.
Yes.
But even in those our own communities, before the coming of this civil law, we also had such issues. And if there was a mistake by anybody, then the person has to face some of those. So there are some of those little practices that people feel they are abominable. You have just mentioned one, like your own place, and so, we know that among the Jews, that they take pork. Pig, they call it pig. They don't want to call it pork. Pork is a new name, baptismal name. But they take it swine or pig meat.
You shouldn't take it.
They are not supposed to take it. They are not supposed to touch it. Yes. Even the Arabs, I think they don't touch it.
Yes.
So now, do we have such things among us? I know that some parts of Igbo land
don't take dogs.
Don't eat snail.
Yes.
And I don't know why they don't eat snail. I don't know. Do you have an explanation for that?
Most of this is because of maybe culture.
Yeah, but is there an explanation for that? Like, if I don't want to mention the town, but I know that there's a town. They don't, like, in fact, according to them, they don't even use the pot
to cook.
that is used to cook snail. If only you use their pot to cook snail, even as a wife, that don't ever try to use it for that man.
Yes.
Because in their place, they don't take snail.
Exactly.
And do you know the explanation they have? They believe that the snail comes from the ground, and it might have gone through the grave and maybe touched some of their ancestors. I get what I'm saying. So
that might not really be because even the food we eat, like cassava, comes from.
I know all of them. No, all of them come from everything comes from the soil. Everything comes from the soil.
Most of this is because of some oracles, especially.
Fine.
Most of oracles. Maybe the oracle has a particular law that makes it powerful or denies its manifestation of power. So if you apply this thing, or if you
that's what I want the people, the viewer to hear about.
Yes.
That's what you are saying now.
Exactly. So if you bring this kind of animal into it, it defies its power. It cannot really
that meat.
That meat.
Yes.
If you touch it, even some people they say that they don't use this kind of spoon to touch an oil because some charms or whatever, oil doesn't go close to it. It doesn't go close to the oil. So it depends on the condiment, what the charm requires to be powerful. So these are things that make up what is called abomination, what is not called abomination. Okay. So let me use an example now. There are some villages in my town, Suka generally, to touch somebody's wife is an abomination.
Beautiful.
Yes, but there's a place, I don't know the place now. My father was telling me that if you get to that place, a man can bring his wife. So he sees giving you his wife as the best color he offers to you when you visit his house.
Yes.
Are you getting me?
I know.
So
to us, in some part of the middle belt.
Yes. So to us, that's an abomination, but to that place, that is a cola.
Yes, that's the cola.
But you're following me. So
that's the cola.
You see it.
Yes.
So the abomination is environmental friendly.
Yeah.
Yes, environmental friendly.
Like even if, but abomination is environmental friendly in terms of your own, the way you put it, but it is a sin against the community.
Against community, the institution of the community,
yes,
the way of life of the community,
yes,
the belief system of the community.
Of the community.
That is the belief system.
Yes,
it's the belief system.
But that belief system must have a reason.
Of course, of course.
Yeah.
Now, of course.
Like I went to a place, because I'm trying to bring up some of this. I went to a place and I don't want to call the town, but I think it's in Delta State. So, if you go to their convenience, sometimes
yes.
you will have all these big snakes.
Okay.
Crawl into the place.
Exactly.
And you're not supposed to touch it.
In part of my village and part of my town, Ubenajima, they have Isieke Ubene.
Yes.
In my village, we kill it. Sometimes my village honors it because they have the same shrine in my village, so they honor it. But some of us, because we don't follow that path, we kill it. If he sees us, he runs away. Some of us, my grandmother, I remember my grandmother, once she sees it, she will start praising it, singing songs, and that thing will just crawl gradually and leave. But some of us, when we see it, we set it on fire. It does that. So it's a belief system.
Yeah,
it's
but
a belief system.
No.
Some people even eat it. Some people worship it as a god, a deity.
Yeah, an old man once told me that if your community respects anything,
yes,
you should respect that thing.
Yes.
Because you do not know why they instituted that.
Exactly.
Maybe it was what saved them
at a time,
at a particular time.
Yes.
Like,
actually, when we were cleaning, when we were juvenile,
yes,
a juvenile manifestation. But now we don't. Whatever you respect, I respect, especially when it's found around your environment.
Yeah, because I want to say this, because there was that story of a soldier that was being pursued by his enemies.
Yes.
And he ran into a particular place. Then a spider came and made its web around that place. So what the spider was doing, because it was clear to the man that he was going to die if those people would get him.
Yes.
So while he was there, the spider did that. So when the soldiers came and they saw that there was this there, they said, no, now with this kind of place, nobody could have entered this kind of place. And that's how the man was saved. So he said by a spider.
You see.
So and if that man begins to now, pay regard to spider and his children and so on.
The spider has a spirit.
Yes.
Because every beast represents a spirit.
Yes.
Every beast represents a spirit.
Okay.
Even let me speak as a pastor. When Jesus came, the beast that represented his ideology was the lamb. Are you following me? Remember when Jesus came, before he ascended, he said to Peter, don't go to the house of the Gentiles to preach. That's an abomination. But when he ascended, he saw another dimension. He came to Paul. He said to Paul, say, please go to the house of the Gentiles. As a matter of fact, he came to Peter first. I said, Peter, he came down like a sheet. Say, please kill. This is, Peter will say, lie, that's an abomination. He said, don't say that something is unclean when God has made it clean. But because in the idea and the ideology of Peter, which Jesus, when he was on earth, imparted in him, he saw it as an abomination.
Yeah.
But the same thing he called abomination, Jesus came and said to Peter, it's an abomination. Paul, please preach it to the Gentiles. So seasons can, something that is white, season can say is white, okay. It's black.
Yeah. So
it can become abomination today, tomorrow it may not be abomination again.
Yeah, because our late brother, Mike Ejaga,
yes,
spoke about a case. Because it's always important to, part of what we are doing now is education.
Yeah, education
for the viewer. Because Mike Ejaga, he talked about the young man, because here our people venerate kola nut.
Very well.
Kola nut.
Yes.
We may not have clear picture of why, but we venerate kola nut. Here and the whole of south and part of middle belt, yes, they venerate kola nut. And it's supposed to be done by a man.
Exactly.
Breaking the kola nut is by a man.
Yeah.
And then the man came back with his wife from overseas. And then the man brought the kola nut. And while he was trying to get all that things, water and everything, the wife just broke the kola nut. And then when the man came back, he saw it and he just kept quiet. And because the woman had already broken it, the man couldn't take it because he doesn't want to be hit by the communal institution. I want to use the word you used. So, and then the young man was thinking that the man wanted to kill him, that he poisoned the kola nut. Yeah. But he was the person going to kill the man.
You see?
I get what I'm saying.
You see?
So Why are we talking like that? It's important that the viewer begins to appreciate the fact that, like you said, communities determine what is their own.
Yes, what guys.
What is abominable to them, and what's abominable to them depends on the challenge. Do we have in Igbo land other cases of abomination?
Yes, we have. We have so many cases. Like now, when a woman cannot enter into a masquerade house, it's an abomination.
Okay.
You can't enter into a masquerade house, but
because there was one that I saw.
Okay.
And
in Igbo land?
No, I saw it. There was one thing that's called Oboma.
Okay.
There's a masquerade we call Oboma. Okay. That big masquerade. Mm-hmm. Normally it's done by solid men. And then a girl came, not just dancing with the Oboma, she was dancing lasciviously with Oboma. And people were laughing. And I saw the video and I said, that girl does not know what she's doing.
The culture.
No, not just the culture. It's a risk. Sometimes because something that you may not know may still kill you.
Of course, yes. Ignorance is not an excuse.
Yes. Something you may not know
excuse.
may still kill you.
Exactly.
Because if the girl comes tomorrow, she might have done it thinking that it is fun and that she's liberated and this feminism.
Yeah, exactly.
But there may be some spirits living inside that.
Exactly, and spirit doesn't understand that.
They don't understand. They don't understand those things.
Exactly.
And not just spirits. The law. You are a lawyer. Ignorance is not an excuse.
You know what I'm saying? What makes the law is what backs it up, which is the spirit.
Yes.
The spirit of the law what makes the law powerful.
Yes.
Once the spirit, which is the belief system of the people, is taken away and is instituted in another place, that law won't have power again.
Okay.
And it's the spirit of the law that makes law powerful.
Yeah.
That makes law efficacious. Are you getting me? That makes the law efficacious.
Yeah, there was a place in Igbo land.
Yes.
And they had one large evil forest.
Okay.
Which we were not supposed to enter. It's an permission to access it. But the people needed to access that evil forest for industrial development. And what did they do? The people got together, called all the elders of every lineage.
Yeah, exactly.
And they gave them little
sacrifice.
Machete. Okay. Machete. Of course, they said their prayer, did their prayer, then they got a little machete. And then they said, we have come to now remove this oracle.
Okay.
In the name of our community.
Okay.
From this place. So they just did they caught this. Then the young man went and cleared the place.
You see, so it's the people that backs up what is
abominable. Yes.
Yeah, it's the people.
Okay.
So it's the spirit.
Yes.
So the people can still command the spirit to leave or admit the spirit to stay.
And when one commits an abomination, what are the forms of punishment they get?
It depends on the culture, the environment, and what is prevalent.
Okay.
Like in the only days we have from like I told you from Abi, if you commit any abomination, you'll be sent to another place called Anoka.
Okay.
Like in the Bible, they call it land of refuge.
Okay.
The land of refuge. You'll be sent there.
Okay.
You might stay there maybe 7 years, 2 years. Once you finish the term of your punishment, you come back again.
Okay.
That kind of a thing. So.
And if you come back, is there anything you are going to do apart from that? Is there anything like reparation?
Of course, they can do some. You can do some cleansing.
Okay.
You kill an animal. Some of them ask you to go naked for 7 days or so. Go to the market, depending on the kind of punishment that is attached to that particular law which you
as a reparation, no?
Yes.
It's as a reparation.
Yes.
Because you are repairing what you have done.
Violated.
Exactly. What you have violated. Thank you.
Exactly.
You are repairing it. That's what is the reparation.
So once you finish the reparation, you join the society.
You become part of the community.
Part of the community.
Like if you are banished, it is because you have lost your membership.
But your banishment is entirely.
You have lost your membership.
Exactly. Exactly. You don't have, and you cannot partake in the inheritance of the family if you're banished.
Yes.
It's very, very terrible something.
No, it's terrible, but it is important that people understand that when people are banished, they have lost membership.
Yeah, exactly.
That's loss of membership.
The first banishment we experience is in the Bible. Adam and Eve were banished from the Garden of Eden, so they couldn't inherit the blessings of the presence of God again.
And it's different from isolation. Being isolated, like you cause trouble, you'll be isolated.
Isolated for a season. Like in the Bible,
like that one
leprosy,
you mentioned.
Leprosy, isolated for 6 months. And once you get healed, you come back again.
Okay.
As banishment is where you're entirely off.
Cut off.
You cut off from the society.
Okay. Yes. So, Pastor, now in this our present age now, do we have still, things that are repugnant? Because I think it's all about repugnancy.
Yes, repugnancy.
It's all about repugnancy.
Yes, exactly.
Do we have any repugnant practices, rules, rights that are abominable?
Yes.
So the current...
As a matter of fact, why we don't see much power and much punishment again is because moral decadence has so much touched the fibers of the lives of the people. Yes, even in the churches, where we say grace, if you confess your sins, you'll be forgiven, that kind of thing. But you notice that the law makes life worth living. Law and institutions makes the law worth living. We have such things because karma is still there. Yeah, karma is still there. If you do this, and this will happen to you. If you off this light now, life will go off.
The law of return.
Yes.
The law of reciprocity.
Exactly.
So for everything that you do, you must be rewarded one way, or the other. Positive or negative.
Exactly.
Okay.
So that's just it. It's just understanding. If you understand the law, then you'll be powerful. You'll be secured. I tell people that God doesn't secure men outside what man provides for him to depend on to secure them. So we have some laws that if you do this will happen to you. So even in the church, even in marriage, even in ministry. If you don't study, you will fail. These are things. These are the regulations. If you do this, if you drive roughly, if you drink alcohol beyond this thing, so it's just there. It's not what God or man. It's still just an institution that is there. If you submit to it, this will happen to you. If you don't submit, it will break.
So what would you give as advice to the viewer, particularly the young ones?
Okay, well, my candid advice to the young ones, just to know that life should not be lived in isolation of laws. Life cannot be lived in isolation of laws. Like when you said, I was giving people backseats. Yesterday, I'm a senior pastor of a church. We went to a church in the village in Abi, and the pastor that messed up a particular principle of the church that he broke, he was restored back yesterday. He was sitting at the back. Yesterday, I restored him back. So people that understand that this life should be lived in the way it ought to be lived by law, by principles, they know that things are there. But people who are ignorant, who are careless, who are just living anyhow, of course, they see the repercussions, they see the repatriation, they see all manner of results that goes. So if you're a young person, that's why we need to go close to elders, because they're the custodians of what is obtainable. They are the custodians of the principles of life. It's very important we get close to the elders, read books, understand. Even Jesus said that when you see abomination that causes desolation happening in the holy place, sitting where it ought not to, just know that the end has come. So one of the ways of knowing that the end of his season has come is when the abomination of the Lord that holds that season is being scattered, is being treated with nonchalance. So I advise the young ones, so that this law of a young trying to get money anyhow. No, if you get it anyhow, you'll be cut off anyhow. There are laws or principles of making wealth. Study, work hard, and wait for your time. Make it everything beautiful.
Okay, what of these children what of these young ones? Sorry, even if they are not children. What are these young ones who beat their parents? Like if a young man is angry, like there was a video that they just put on the social media yesterday. The man wears hard belt, and because the wife offended him, he flogged the man, and the boy came in and started harassing the father. Then when he said, okay, I'm going to flog her, let's do your worst. So he just slapped the father. So is that an abomination?
It's evil.
Okay. And then what of the girl that beat up the mother?
That's evil too. If you beat your mother, society will beat you. Because you don't reap what you sow, you reap more than what you sow. That's it about it. So there's a place I preached this morning, the blessing of the fullness of God. I told them that the custodian of the blessing of every family is the father. So once you beat your father, you cannot access that blessing again. No matter what your father does, that he did evil does not give you license to beat him because he's a father. So he has the blessing. So beating a father means the father can cut you off from your God. The father of everyone can cut the person off from his God. So beating your father, or Bible says he that does something to his parents will live long. So the longevity of to create people.
Now you mentioned this idea of people now, this new thing that is called, people going to create trees. They now say we want to get back to our ancestral spirits. And then they start. There is some energies around trees. So if you go to most of the villages now, sometimes you come around the place, they will get one white cloth or red cloth or whatever cloth, tie it around the tree, and begin to make all those things. Do they actually? I mean, when we're bringing those abominable issues of abomination, those people that are trying to do that, do they know the ontological and genetological, aspects of that particular spirit that they want to call up now, that has been resting for years?
You are calling it abomination, but to them it's not abomination. Because some of them will say, I wrote this book. the end of abomination that causes desolation. Why is it that what our forefathers did that is causing us problem today, people don't ask questions? They go back again to evoke it back again because of ignorance. I tell people that Jesus is about to come the second time. Are you following me? Okay. There was a particular spirit that he didn't come with the first time. He didn't come with a particular spirit of war, of fighting. He came as a Lamb of God. So he came with the spirit of the Lamb. That's why he said to John and James, don't call thunder, because you don't know the spirit I came with. So his second coming will bring a kind of spirit of dominion. Now that spirit of dominion is already on earth. They call it the lion of the ancient, that's the father of all spirits. Now that spirit is coming, and it's coming upon the Jews that are in diaspora, and the first capital and genuine Jews that are in diaspora are actually the Igbos. Now this spirit is coming to locate the people that will come to convert the original Jews. That the spirit is in town. And that is why if you see church now, all manner of abomination is happening to the church, because this present church is church of the Gentiles, not the original church of God. The original church of God has to do with Jacob Abiyama, the King of Kings and the Lord of Lords. The Jews as was in the days of Moses. So Jesus came to make a people that were not a people, be part of God without the Gentiles. So we see today, we see the Gentile church. So most of the Gentile church, they don't understand ordinance. They don't understand principles. They enjoy grace, because grace is a time given to a people that were not meant a people to be part of God. Okay. Now, if you see in a village where there is that kind of masquerade that will come, they say that this kind of family cannot carry this marriage because they are not the original part of this village. Are you getting me? Now, the original people of God are coming back. Now, those that are dead, those that serve Christ, but they didn't know Jesus, because in the olden days, our forefathers, they brought a stone, made something like oboe or something. They don't do abomination. They will tell you, we don't fornicate, we don't carry people's wives, we don't steal, we don't do sin. Bible says in their culture they were serving Christ.
Yes.
You are serving Christ. They were more righteous than some of us pastors today. Are you following me?
No, in the book of Matthew, if you remember,
yes,
when Jesus died,
yes,
he said that a lot of holy men.
Are you getting me? They were holy because
they were holy men. They were not Christians. They were holy men.
These are people that were powerful. They can disappear. If you shoot them, they will disappear. But me and you, if somebody comes with God now,
with knife,
I getting it. Now that spirit is coming. So those in the grave, they now understand, but they want the living to connect them to that light. So because they are calling from the grave, our young Jews that don't understand the tenets of that calling said that their father is calling them to idols. Okay. Are you following me? So Jesus said, when you see the abomination that causes desolation, standing in the holy place, just know that the end of a season has come. So the end of a season has come. The Lion of Judah is coming to shift the church to a better place. So once there is a shifting, whatever you're doing in the past has become an abomination. Okay. Are you getting me? So we need teachers. That's why I call me rabbi.
So this syncretism that is happening, yes, is abomination.
It's abomination.
Okay.
So they need to be told the truth.
Okay.
In their conscience, they are doing the right thing, because the season, the prevalent light of this season cannot handle the problem we are seeing today. Okay. So they are going to Underage, so that if you shoot them, God, you will not enter. But there's a revelation of the Bible that is telling them, come to this kind of light, the light of that one that Daniel saw in the Old Testament. So I saw the Ancient of Days. Okay. So that's where we are. Because if this sin of abomination is actually the word Prophet Daniel prophesied. Okay. It's about Prophet Daniel. Okay. So that's why, especially in the Igbos, why is that Igbo people wear clothes that has lion's face? Okay. You don't understand. Why are they wearing cap that is red? Why are they putting the horn, 2 horns like this? You don't understand this thing. This is about the church of the Ancient of Days. Because Bible says, David said, he has exalted my horn. And Jesus said that in Revelation 19, that he's wearing a garment dipped in the blood. That's why we are wearing red. Bible says his name is called the Lion of Judah. That's why we are seeing this. So anytime you see the face of an animal coming around an environment, the spirit that owns that animal to declare the dominion of that animal is around that place. That's what we're seeing now.
Okay. So I think my viewer, we have tried to look into this issue of abomination. It's important that we avoid abominable acts, not only materially, but also more importantly because of the spiritual content and implication, so that we leave this world a better place. Because it is important that we understand that life is to be lived and lived in goodness. So we want to thank our discussants, Pastor, Barrister, Esquire, Barrister Charles Ajogu. Thank you.
Thank you, Professor.
Well done.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay.
This is Aneke TV.